I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining the show tonight. You are watching the Cryptid Podcast, and I am your host, Dan Hamilton. Thank you so much for checking us out, following the channel, subscribing, commenting, sharing. I truly appreciate that. Just let you guys know I started a new membership program, $2.99. Gets you a exclusive early access to a Saturday release. I just want to say that this is a safe place for people to come and share their encounters. And if you've had an encounter and like to come on the show, please email me at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Tonight, you guys, I have Christopher on. And Christopher's had a few different experiences. Christopher has had interaction or an encounter with the mantis creatures. He's also into the CE5 meditation that one of our previous guests had on. And he also had a Sasquatch encounter. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring Christopher on. Christopher, how you doing, buddy?
Good, you?
Doing well, doing well. I see that you're not on camera, which is perfectly fine. You know, we want to protect your identity as much as we can and want you to know that it is a safe space. And then what I'll do is I'll ISO you, and I'll be off camera taking notes. So why don't we just go ahead and jump into these amazing encounters, especially the mantis creatures. That one fascinates me.
Yeah, you were talking to ex-copper Tyler, and so he told me about you, and I watched your show, and that was great. And you said you wanted to hear about it, and you'd love to hear about it, so that's why I reached out to you. And so, yeah, it was 2014. I lived just outside of Toronto, basically, and I was up in Wasaga Beach. And it was like a Saturday night at the cottage kind of thing. It was a hot day, and we're just playing games and balderdash. And it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And it was really hot in the cottage, stuffy. So it was really a breeze. So I said to my friend, there's like 5 of us, and I said, why don't we go for a walk to the beach? Like, we heard about this like private beach, like so nice, So they reluctantly got up, and we walked to the down the short trip down the road, and then to the beach, and we're just walking along in the sand kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, it became very like electromagnetic. The air became very like so much power was in it. And then there's almost like time stopped, and like the waves stopped moving, and the moon was somewhat far away, but then it came very close. And I was like, what the heck's going on here? So then I looked at my friend, and he wasn't responding. He was like frozen. And I went to the other friends, and they were like in paralysis. Like, they weren't responding to like any like hand moves in front of their face, and their eyes were like looking different direction. They were frozen. So I was super alarmed. I thought to myself, what's going on here? I want to find out what's going on here. And then all of a sudden I'm looking for answers, and I'm like, oh, there's people over there. Maybe they're not, being subjected to this power. And so I don't remember if I like levitated or like, or just walked there or just like teleported there. I don't know what. All of a sudden, I'm in front of one of them, and they were about 30 feet in a triangular formation apart, the 3 of them, right? So I was going to say, like, can you help me? Like, what's going on here? You experience this kind of thing? And so when a second I looked up at him, I like totally changed my questioning, and I realized that he wasn't a human being. The first thing I saw was that somewhat tall, and he was like, I believe it was a male, 7 or 8 feet tall kind of thing, and the eyes were just so big, and they're the colors of them, like the irises were just, there was like a huge range of colors, like purples and silvers and like golds kind of thing. And they're just massive irises, massive eyes. And then I kind of quick look at it, like at the nose and the kind of teeth, and like so they're wearing with like a somewhat of a big head, and then they're wearing black thin suits, like a hooded suit, and then like a thin it was like a one piece, but it was like a turtleneck with the hood over top of its head, and then had like one thick strand like over top of its head over top its forehead, halfway, like, and so I was like, what is that, like a, I don't know what that was, like a tenor or something, I don't know what that was. To this day I have no idea. And then yeah, the nose wasn't a human nose. I don't quite recall, but I do recall the teeth weren't very pleasant teeth. They didn't quite look like, they weren't human teeth at all. So I believe it. I was trying to find out, if they're the tall whites or whatnot, or whatnot. Anyways, so I was pretty sure they're the mantis beings. But anyways, so I looked as soon as I noticed all these things. I said, "Who are you? You can't be here." And the being with like the power of like a thousand, like 1,000 lines of lightning. You know what I mean? It's just super power. Was like the being said, "We can come and go whenever we want. Nothing could stop us." And it was just, the power was just incredible. And so I was like, what the, so it was really even more bizarre. Like I just like left that. And then I kind of like, we went back into a daze. And then, usually like when I go, like before I go to bed, I like make sure I brush my teeth and get my pillow ready. I just went onto the couch at the cottage and just like passed out. And it was strange because the next day, like, I would talk to Amy about my girlfriend at the time, I would talk about everything, and like, I didn't say anything. I totally forgot about it. Then like, Wednesday I started to recall this. That was the Saturday. Then the Wednesday right after, I started to recall what was going on. And then the same friend had a party at his house in Toronto. And I asked them, I stopped the party, and they're like, I asked them, like, what happened? And they're like, oh, we just saw you go up to those people in black. And I'm like, did you not recall me, like waving my hand in front of you and all this stuff? And so that was like that was not a, I did not manifest that. That was the last thing in my mind was like meeting, these type of creatures or beings, whatever they were. It wasn't like a CE5 thing where I wanted to manifest that and all that. It just happened. So that's that.
Okay, so how far away were you from these beings, these creatures?
I was right in his face. Like, I'm like
like
I love talking to new people, you know what I mean? Just as I am, and yeah, not really afraid of anything really. So I just like went up. I wanted an answer. I was within a foot, 2 feet, just like a normal standing in front of somebody, right?
Right. And so you mentioned the teeth a few times. Like, describe what the teeth look like.
Really hard to say. Like, it was very shocking, but I think they were like pointed and sharp, jagged, and maybe like a little bit like yellow. It was like, like maybe I think I recall like they didn't really have good like dental hygiene, like, and they were it's tough to say exactly. That's all I recall really. They're just sharp and like a little bit yellow, I guess, and they weren't human teeth at all.
Okay. So, and when you were communicating with them, were they verbally like coming, was the vocalization coming out of their mouth?
Difficult to say. I think so. I think it was verbal. Like, I don't think it was like telepathic or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it was verbal.
And what part of them made you believe that that these are the mantis creatures?
Well, just the size and colors of the eyes, and then trying to get images of them, and I've been trying to find out for almost like a decade. And then, like, they're not like the fact that their teeth were that way and the eyes were so big and colored, and it just only makes sense. I don't think they're like the Nordic whites or tall whites. They could be, right, but I'm pretty sure they were like mantis beings. But I don't like to speculate too much. I only like to say what actually happened, and then from there we can draw conclusions. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh no, I completely agree. Now, when you notice these, like, so when you walked up, I mean, and I'm kind of the same way. I'm very open. I like to talk to people. These people say I'm a people person. But when you got closer to these things, was there a hesitation on your part approaching them?
Not at all. Like, I just wanted the answer to like what this phenomena was. Like the friends being frozen, paralysis, and the magnetic power, and kind of like time stopped, and all these things. I wanted an answer. So like, just the way I am. Like, I've I don't know, just where I was, in my consciousness, and with myself. You know what I mean? Like no nonsense. Like,
Right.
you know.
And so I would assume that, just in your, like you said, your consciousness and who you are, you would have thought, I'll go check out those three guys standing over there, who are extremely tall. They probably have something to do with this. Is that what your mindset was?
Yeah, that'd be the logical thing. Like they would have answers to it, you know. But like, it's tough to say because when that, you know, electromagnetic energy or whatever the power was happening there, you know, you're not quite like, I don't know, it's not normal, right? So I mean, so it's tough to say. Like that's why I wanted to mention. Like I don't know if I like levitated there, or, like teleported, or like, you know, walked there, but I was like all of a sudden I'm like right in front of them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that was my next question. Like 1 minute you're looking at them from a distance,
And
next
boom,
minute
I'm there, right? You know, I'm
you're
like
right there.
right there, right? So it's like that's the time, maybe the time thing. So, you know, time warp, I have no idea, right?
Right. Well, I'll tell you right now that's an interesting encounter. I've had one
Mhm.
person on where they believe they encountered a lizard man.
Mm.
And I believe in lizard men. I've heard of many accounts. I've heard encounters with grays. I haven't heard what you call them, the high whites.
Don't know.
I haven't heard much encounters, with those. And then I've just heard kind of whispers of, per se with the mantis. And
Mm.
so that actually does fascinate me. So when you went through all of this, you went back to your house, you guys all went back. You said normally you would, you had a ritual you would normally do before you went to bed, and you just passed out on the couch. Do you feel that any time that there may have been something that kind of had control over you, from the time you saw them to the time you woke up in the morning, and you said
Absolutely.
your girlfriend said she found found you on the couch?
No, let me just explain it better. So, be more clear here. So, yeah. So after that incident, all of a sudden, all I recall is like getting into the cottage and just flopping on the couch. And then when I went home the next day, you know, my town, she's like, hey, you know, how was your trip, right? I'm like, oh, we played Boulder Dash and bocce ball and all this. Not once did I mention that incident until like 3 days later, kind of thing, 4 days later, and then it came to me. So I basically I'd be under like some sort of like drowsy hypnosis type of thing, right?
Right.
Quite peculiar, you know. So and then that's why, like, on the Friday at the party, right? I was like, guys, like, listen, I usually at a party, there were other people that weren't there, obviously, right? And like, they had to hear me asking them, but I was like, it was so pertinent that I wanted to be like, guys, what did you experience? What was your recollection?
Exactly. And I assume that you felt like there was like a time, like you said, like kind of like a time warp, but there was like a gap of time that you're not really able to recall or account
Yeah,
for.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So
Yeah.
so is that the end of just of pretty much that
Well,
whole?
and then I think like 2019 kind of thing. I saw a glimpse of the front of a ship, and then I was like, "Wow, did I really see that?" And it was like a small, like 1, 2, or 3 pilot, person ship kind of thing, being ship, and they have rounded wings, so I kept that back line, whatever. And then one morning it was like 5:30, the sun was just coming up, and something woke me up, and I sat up in my bed, and there was this short, like 3 or 4 foot tall smiley being at the foot of my bed. And the first thing when I saw his eyes, it must be eyes that I look at right away, first thing, right? Anyways, they were so smiley. This being was smiling, was so happy to see me, or was so happy that, they responded to the telepathy or something, but the eyes were just like the being was like smiling for like 100 years.
So
And then,
when you mentioned telepathy, are you talking about the CE5?
no, telepathy, like I was sleeping and then the being was at the foot of my bed and then I woke up. So I'm just trying to understand why the being was so why the being was first of all in my bedroom at the foot of my bed, and why it was so smiley. And I think it has to do with some, telepathy kind of thing. But in
Okay.
terms of CE5, that's a protocol, a meditation, basically to invite the star people or ships, and I've had success with that.
Really? Let's get
Yeah,
into that.
yeah. So 2014 was the Mantis Spings. 2013, it's when everything changed for me totally, because I was quite interested in the stars and whatnot, right? So I thought, I'm going to give this a shot, right? This CE5 thing. And like Dr. Beard did some good ones like 9 or 10 years ago, and I guess it was my interpretation. So basically, this is what I did. I was camping outside of Perry Sound, and I was with a girlfriend at the time, and so right before I fell asleep, basically, I was laying in the camper, and I started doing breathing exercises. So in through my nose, out through my mouth, and I did that like very as much as I go in through my nose and out. So basically, it's like beyond space and time, but it's like maybe up to 15 seconds in and 15 seconds out, right? And so I went into a very deep state of relaxation. I believe it's called theta.
Mhm.
And then basically, once I was in that deep state, I brought into my consciousness love. I just felt love for a very long time. Then I felt like invitation for a long time, and then oneness, and welcoming and all these things, right?
Correct.
And then the second step, right? So the third step is envisioning I call it from the macro to the micro. So basically the Andromeda galaxy, and then our solar system, and then you're envisioning the sun in your mind's eye, and then the earth, and then the continent, and the country, and the state or province, right? All the way to your location, and then envisioning the whole time, right? And then I fell asleep, right? And I didn't really think much of the next day. I love camping and the sunshine, and I believe it was that day that we went. My girlfriend and I, we went like super deep into just a segue here, super deep into the back nine of this campsite, basically, and a campground, and you can't go there anymore for some reason. I don't know why, but it's way at the back. And went around this. There was two moose sticking up behind each other, and then I popped up the canoe, and they turned around and shot off in the bush, and then went down this one river system. And then I could like sense and hear like beings like running through the forest, and very excited, and like they didn't want me there. So I'm pretty sure those were Sasquatch, but that wasn't on my radar at all. So anyways, that night, I go to my girlfriend. I said, we should brush our teeth and go to bed. It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Then all of a sudden, in the corner of my eye, I see this like bright light. And first thing I think, I try to be like pragmatic, logical, and like, oh my God, there's a plane. There's no airport around here. This plane's gonna like land, or the runway's gonna crash. And I kept looking at it like, that's not a plane, right? So my girlfriend, get up, let's go, because unfortunately our campsite was right on the beach. So we were right on the beach, and all of a sudden it just came over top of us, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 feet away, very close. And it was orange and red, and it was like a football, but like a fat football, if you can envision that. And then it's a horizontal, and it just silently went over top of us, right in front of us. And it was orange and red overlapping, and the technology is what got me. It was, if you look at like fluorescent of like a gas station, for instance, and it's like that richness. This was like 100,000. The TV's like 4K TV or whatever. They're like, it was like 100,000 K. The richness and the clarity of the color. Like this technology was like, it must be like some sort of universal technology. I think it's like even beyond the star people. But
So you're looking at something very, very vibrant in color.
so it was two-dimensional, orange and red overlapping each other in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And very, I guess, vibrant. Yeah, it was just such an incredible technology. The light was just so advanced. And and then it just like, it wasn't a bright light. It was just like a solid, rich light, super like clear light. Anyways, it just went over top of us, like silently, very slowly. And then I started chanting to it, like Om, for instance, and then some other Buddhist chants.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was the right thing to do at the time. And then it did a right turn, and then it went on a 45-degree angle, and it was like Star Trek. Have you ever seen the ships like warp speed, where the light stretches? That literally is what we saw, and it just shot off into the night sky.
Really?
And I laid on the beach, and I was like crying, like, oh my God, is that from C5? Like, we're not alone. Like, what is this? You know, I was just crying and crying, and then people like ran to the beaches. One kid came right in my face, like, "What'd you see?" Like, tell me all that stuff, because I guess in the campground, like, people saw it too, maybe, or they heard, right? I just told them, you know, briefly not in that detail, but what I saw and everything. And so that was like, oh my God, this is just so amazing. You know? So that's what really like inspired me to really get to the truth of everything here.
You know, when I was a junior in high school, I lived on a lake in Washington State,
Nice.
and I had a girlfriend. We were down on my boat dock, and we were stargazing in air quotes, and we felt like this electricity. And it wasn't because, you know, we were with each other. You legit, like, the hair on her arms, the hair on my arms, the hair on the back of my neck, just it stood on its end. It was standing straight up, like there was an electrical current in the air, and then we heard this very low hum. And I sat up and I looked behind me to my left, and I see this light, and it's like scanning back and forth. It's like a white light, like a super white light, and it was just like scanning slowly, you know, through the forest. And so her and I, we got scared. We ran back up into my house, and we ran up into my bedroom. Now I slept in a loft that overlooked our living room and dining room. But if I looked straight out, there was like 5 windows that I could see out. I couldn't touch them, but you could see straight out there. And we saw where my boat dock was. Well, we saw this thing slowly going over, and it came over. The light shined very slowly across, like scanned across where the boat dock was. And then it went out over the lake. And that's when I saw the craft. And I looked at her, and I go, "Are you seeing this?" And she said, "Yes." And when she said yes, the thing you just saw it like shoot straight up in the air as far, you know, as far as we could see it, but it moved so quick. It was like it just was gone. So,
Do you think that was a piloted ship, or?
I really, I don't know. Now I grew up in the military. I grew up, you know, living close to like Buckley Air Station in Aurora, Colorado, where I'd see the SR-71 fly in and out. I lived close to McCord Air Force Base, other, you know, Navy bases, Army bases. So I grew up around aircraft of all kinds. It moved silently except for that hum. And this was back in 1987, 88. So, you know, drone technology wasn't what it is today, even if we had drone technology back then. And it moved so quick and so silent. So I knew it was not a prop plane of any kind. It was not a jet. It wasn't a fixed wing. It wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't a hang glider. It wasn't a glider. Just the way it moved. And it was probably about the size of a football field.
Do you think it was your military technology, or do you think it was?
No, was not military
Yeah,
technology.
it seems like when your girlfriend acknowledged it and then it shot off that fast, it's like hard to believe that, you know, that's military. I know they're super advanced, but like that's a connection there. You
Yeah,
know,
it's pretty crazy.
like, yeah, wow.
And she was supposed to go home, and she wound up sleeping over at my house because she was scared to drive home.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I really don't get scared, to be honest. I'm just so interested. I'm like past that. Like I chose love and a lot of meditation. So, anyways.
Yeah, for sure. You know, so let's get into your C5, your CE5, and your light ship.
Well, the 2013, that was the basically light ship, but I've seen so many different types of ships. Like I saw a 110-foot one last June. It just appeared. Yeah,
like coming out of warp speed almost.
Well, so it just it was like 1:30 in the morning. I just happened to look up, and it was above a home basically, and it was like had no wings on it, and it had no windows, and it was like a bronzish gray ship. It kind of had like a sharp edge to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it for like 3 seconds, and then I went to grab my phone, and then it like cloaked. So I really don't. For me, I'm kind of like selfish. Like I don't really care to like take videos or pictures. Maybe I'm going to do that, but
right.
Yeah, it was just Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I didn't even ask for it. I've seen so going back to that the short being in my bedroom with the rounded ship. I was up about 2 hours north of Toronto, and I was just getting ready to go to bed. And all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure I saw the same ship. It was the same because it has the rounded wings. So basically, it was a little like double the height of the high trees, basically, and it had the hue of a fire, like an orange hue, and it was fully lit up, and then it cloaked. So it was like going slowly, right? So it fully lit up for like 3 seconds, and then cloaked for 3 seconds, and lit up again, and then it was gone over the trees. And I'm pretty sure that's like the same, the same pilot of that ship and that being I met, because the rounded wings. I've seen a massive, like kind of like 747 ship, all white. I saw it for a couple of seconds, and it faded into like this cloud and had V-shaped wings. It was very peculiar. I've seen a wide V-shaped ship go over top of the city of Toronto slowly. I've just seen, like, even Tyler with X-Cop, we saw four ships at a C5 event in Toronto, 4 small balls of light on the same trajectory 4 times in a row. Yeah, so like I could talk for a while about, like, I was out in the middle of nowhere here in Ontario, and nighttime, and back in this farmer's field, there was this, I thought it was like, no one's around. I thought it was like a farmer at first. I pulled over, turned my car off, and I looked in the forest, and it was like this, back in the woods, basically, of the tree line of the woods in this farmer's field. Anyways, there was this slowly red light rotating, and then there was white lights that were like shining down, that were illuminating the ground, basically. And I was concerned that, like, I've heard that they can, like, basically shut off your, basically drain all your batteries. And I was concerned my car wouldn't start, so I just took off. And then on the way home, I saw this, it was a very windy day, windy night, and there was this, basically like a diamond-shaped kind of thing, object high up above Lake Ontario, and it was, had like a gray shimmering animation to it, and then a kind of like a solid border around it. And it could have been a portal. I don't know what that was, but it was, I could talk for a while about the stuff, So I'm like, I've seen so many ships. I don't even want to see the ships anymore, the lights. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool if they'll appear or whatever, but I'm really interested in the forest people, really.
Right. Let me ask you this. So, Chris or Christopher?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does it matter if I say Chris or Christopher? What do you prefer?
Christopher is fine.
Christopher. Okay. So let me ask you this, man. When they appear, and from all the encounters, that are, that I've heard about, they don't normally try to hide themselves. It's like, here we are. What do you think? Oh, he bounced out. Oh, looks like he bounced out for a second, everybody. But so what he's talking about when it's CE5, it's a form of meditation, and they believe. And here he is back. Hey, you're good, man. No, you're good. Do you need to pause? Yeah, he's got a little one back there, you guys. So we got to give him a second, because family comes before everything. So, but anyway, so from what I understand from Tyler Scott, when he was on my show a couple weeks ago, is that the CE5 meditation is where you go into like a meditative state, and you kind of project your energy up into the sky, and that's a way to call these crafts in. I've from Tyler, I've heard that one person can do it, but you get a better result when you have a group of people out doing these. And this is what Christopher does. And from what I understand, there's a big group of people that really get into practicing this CE5 meditation. Now, when I was in the military, I did meditate, but not like a CE5 meditation. I was just trying to find, the career field I was in. I was trying to find, ways to relax a lot better. And what was really cool about this is when I was meditating, I had my eyes closed. I blindfolded myself, and I just had like white noise on. just something to like drown out any outside noise. And I was in my dormitory. And what I found really fascinating by doing this is I was actually able to see, and this is kind of weird, but outside my body in a way. So I was able to open up my eyes, but I physically wasn't open up my eyes, but I saw my entire room. I saw my entire dorm room. And then I walked outside of my dorm room and walked down the hallway and walked into the day room. And this lasted for, you know, maybe a couple of minutes tops. Um, but I was able to walk around the dormitory, but I was still inside my room. Does that make sense? Like I kind of projected myself out there. So, so if anybody's ever interested in doing meditation or CE5 meditation, definitely look it up. I found it to be very relaxing for myself. And that was the only time that it ever happened. So, meditation, whether you use it to kind of relax, to heal yourself. I'm a firm believer in breathing exercises, deep breaths in through your nose, slow exhales out through your mouth. That kind of fill your body up with air, and then slowly exhale all of it out. Just kind of relax yourself. So, but when Christopher wants to jump back in here, I'm still really fascinated about hearing some more of the crafts that he had potentially seen. But like I said, Christopher has it sounds like a small child. So, it's something we definitely try to accommodate here. He'd also mentioned that he had some what he believed to be a Sasquatch encounter when he was in Utah, like 2018, 2019, and hopefully we'll be able to hear that story as well. But other than that, we'll just kind of do a little break thing right here until he comes back on. Just let you know that we'll be doing releases on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays for the $2.99 membership. Members get an early access to a Saturday release. We got some stuff coming down the line for the podcast, and what we'll be doing is I might be taking away one of the releases during the week. It might be a Monday release I get rid of because I'll be doing something else, but I can't really get into detail about that. So just stay tuned for more information on that. And Christopher, are you back?
I'm here. I'll try to
Cool.
pay attention. Sorry, everybody here.
Oh no, you're good. So you were just kind of talked about how you had seen some other ships and things like that, and I think you were done with that. And then I was going to ask you about your Sasquatch encounter that you potentially may have had in Utah.
Yeah, I went to a wedding in Utah anyway, so I was sitting in the chalet, and I was watching these people having like their alcohol beers, whatever. I was watching these three people go across the snow-covered mountain, and it took me like 45 minutes to an hour kind of thing. And so after been one out that I noticed like in the middle of the mountain, this like tall being was like 12, 14 feet tall, kind of like grayish kind of thing, and it was just alone, had no gear, and it just was able to go right up the mountain very quickly. And so it was just so like abnormal that I didn't really, think too much of it. And I'm pretty sure there in the chalet, at night I had a funny dream, something to do with some green imagery and me being outside of the chalet or astral or something. I don't know. That's pretty wild. So I kind of filed that back, and then I was camping in Algonquin, out of nowhere, with a buddy. Just having time, whatever, and then all of a sudden I hear like in the breeze this funny like goofy like ooh, what the
Really?
heck is that? And so I just like again filed that away, and so I so started become more interested in it, like becoming interested like really at all in it, and yeah, I just went from there. Like I was at the C5 Lost Channel cabin, with copper there, and so basically. I fell asleep in the cottage. Like we did meditation actually, and then we fell asleep in the cottage, and then I woke up, 20 minutes, half an hour later. And I was like, "What woke me up? Like, what's going on here?" And I looked out the window, and there was this, I don't know what it was, 5 or 6 feet tall with no neck, big shoulders, and it was like kind of like beige. I could see with the slow pedal lights, just a bit of the color in the silhouette. And quite peculiar. And also on the way there, when I was with Mike Patterson, he pardon me, we were just driving, and I see like in the bog this like beige figure, like massive figure. That's strange. It's not like a tree falling over and like in the bog. So that was quite peculiar what that was. And then yeah, they had that massive ship come over them. They invited me to it, but I didn't go. But they had that massive ship come over them, the same place. So that's a very special place. But that whole area there has lots of kind of like minerals or something. And Tyler better explain it. What's in the ground there that makes it very special, magical, supernatural place, really. Yeah, and then so and then I was in the location 2 hours north of Toronto, and I was
There was. Yeah, it looks like we may have lost Christopher again, you guys. So, you guys, what I'm going to go ahead and
I'm
do.
here.
Oh, you're
Can
there.
you?
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Sorry
I
about
got
that.
you. Oh, you're good.
Yeah. So so then I don't know if you heard me there, but so then I was doing yard work in the wheelbarrow. I went to do my first shovel of shovel load, like to fix the lawn, and there was this Y stick there, and it was like a slingshot type of stick, and beautifully carved. And so I literally like, it was so shocking, and I like threw it in the forest. And so um so then that, I'm pretty sure, I think it was that day I started playing the Ontario Sasquatch recordings of Mike Patterson of Neff, his Sasquatch friend, basically, in the forest. And then I was alone in the home at the time, and then I shut it off. And then all of a sudden I hear a snap. So I hear a snap, like kind of like in front of me, and then to my right of me, then over my shoulder in the forest. And I thought, oh, that's not normal, like what's going on there? It was like the same like stick snapping. So at the time, whether it was sticks breaking or it was teleporting, but I think it was just sticks, them breaking sticks, show that they're there. And then that night everyone came back from boating, whatever, and we were just having a pleasant time on the front porch, and next thing you know, like we hear like this conversation just like 30-40 feet in off the edge of the property in the tree line, and it was like a female saying like the wife saying like, don't you, just one second, don't you be getting involved with those people. And the husband's like, oh, come on, they're fine, they're good people, they'll leave you alone, don't worry about it. And it was super shocking, right? So like my cousin, like young cousin, like ran to us. I was like, did you hear all this stuff? I'm like, yeah. So that was quite peculiar. So yeah, I just went from there. Then same location where I got that first Y stick. I was given other only sticks that were there was one that was looked like antlers of a deer, and nothing to the pop of my mind. I went walking with my family's dog basically, and I want to pull the one direction, and then went for a bit further walk, and then I hear this hey call, and it was like this opening of the forest, and nothing was there, and the dog like wanted to like take off, and then as I got closer to the property at their barn, basically, you hear like this hammering on the barn, like wham, and just one sec, sorry. So, okay, and then can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really escalated from there. Like I've heard some like a kerfuffle kind of like behind me. I'm sitting on the porch. I've three consecutive smells in a row. Uh, I just got a snowmobile and I'm trying to fall asleep, and then outside of the home I hear like this do rap, like this commotion, and like do rap. Like what the heck is that? And then I'm at another property, and I'm waking up. Like as soon as I wake up to Yahweh. Like, and that was telepathic. I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah. So just so many indications. Then the most recent one, I played some more Neff for Mike Patterson in the forest and in the time alone, and I shut it off, and I'll hear like this crack snap sound, and then my mom barges out of the home, and she's like, "Did you hit my window?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? There's so much snow, I'm not at your window." And she's like, "Something hit my window." I'm like, "Yeah." So I think it threw something, or it did a slingshot and hit her window. So I played some more recordings, and like she doesn't believe it, whatever. And then next morning, my mom, like right away, as soon as I got up, she's like, "Did you leave the light on in the main bathroom?" And I looked at her, and she's like, "It was Sasquatch." And I was like, "Yeah, like straight up, right?" So yeah, I was like, logically, first of all, I didn't get up. Secondly, there's another bathroom in the way in our own like corridor, basically. Like you're not gonna leave the light on too to bother. You know what I mean? So, and then the bed was smashed a while ago. The mattress was smashed. Woke us up in the night, and then my mom said the last night they got a new mattress. Their mattress was smashed, which was strange, right?
Oh yeah.
So lots of activities. So like I'm just trying to get like Tyler's out there, ex-copper, right? He's out there trying to get the information. Like he's amazing for that. Mike Patterson's had a long relationship. He just did a live podcast, so he had all kinds of incidents. I don't get the marbles, but another time I was given two Y sticks in the middle of nowhere, right? Two Y sticks. I turned away for a second. I'm making the fire, and I go to look back at the fire, and there's two small Y sticks stacked on top of each other. And I didn't tell my other group of friends because they're not into it really. They're open to it, whatever. We talked a bit about it, but like I was like, what the heck? And then there was this black feather. It was perfectly for my buddy's like cowboy hat, basically, that was there. They gave it to him. I've heard like I was laying my hammock, then I hear like a rip on the vinyl, like right behind me in the tree, like the extra straps, like the long strap, basically. I hear it like ripped as soon as I fell asleep. It ripped it, and so I was like, "Oh my goodness!" They're right behind me. And it's big time, like peace came over me, basically. I knew it was just incredible. And I've woken up to like cotton candy. Oh, and then the one time there, I started going to bed or having a couple of Crown Royals, whatever, and I made the mistake of making two calls. One was a loon call, another one was like a I don't know, budgie or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason my friend's like, "Well, it's a nice night. Why don't you not put your covers on the hammock?" I'm like, okay, whatever. So I can somewhat see the stars, whatever. Right. So next thing you know, all night, like every hour, was a new species of bird or goose or owl. That was like, and I'm like, there's no way all these species are there, and in the immediate area above us in the trees, but also the goose like in the distance. Like that didn't make sense. And then I woke up like probably like 4 or 5 a.m. to like a sound of fighter jets, like a fighter jet, and I look up and I could I see this spherical of static white ball, and bright on its tail, like it was like jointed, but not really. It was a V-shaped ship or whatever it was chasing it. I was like,
Really?
what the heck is that? Yeah, that was a wild night. And I'm pretty sure that was the night that I woke up to Yahweh. Like that was an effing party, man. That was wild.
Yeah, it's
So
that is definitely, something out of the ordinary. So, but hey, man, so let me ask you this.
yeah.
When what do you think when the aliens, we'll call them the Greys or the mantis or whatever you've seen, what do you think it is that they want when they appear to somebody?
I don't know what maybe the mantis was like a message, like, those beings. I haven't really known, but like I just deep down want to know like the truth, like are they here, what they're capable of. I think depending on the level of like ascension and ability and like a spiritual sense, technology and possibly divinity, there's different levels of them, and like like some of them are more interested like in biological things with us, where other ones are more interested in our consciousness and helping us or healing us, or so just like we're all on different paths, we're all operating at different levels of consciousness, in terms of like operating systems, right? Just as human
Right.
beings, IQs and all this, or emotional intelligence, all these levels, so they all have all these different programs here. A lot of times I just think that and like in a sense it's a bit of a prison planet, right? Especially like in North America, and they're trying to help us like wake up and defeat it maybe, or wanting us to connect with the Galactic Federation of Light, or other, become part of them, the stars, and to develop our consciousness basically, and all these different things. That's all I can speculate, and whether it's my own understanding or miss my research and the consensus out there basically. So it could be all those things or none of them, I don't know.
Yeah, it's same question can be asked, when people encounter Sasquatch or Dogman or the Kushtaka or Mothman or the Jersey Devil or anything like that. There's so many questions that can be asked out there, and you're just not really sure exactly what it is that you're seeing. So, man,
Yeah,
I just want to say, man, thank you so much for
you're
reaching out,
welcome.
and you know I've always kind of been interested in this thing, and hopefully someone will, when they watch this, they'll kind of, it might pique an interest in them as well. Because while you were off, I was kind of explaining an encounter that I had, or an experience I had when I meditated, on how I was able to. It felt like I projected my own consciousness outside of my body to where I
Mm,
saw my dorm room. I walked around my dorm room. I walked out of my dorm room, through my dormitory that I was in, and this all lasted like maybe 2 minutes.
well,
You
like
know,
astral travel then, right?
yeah, something like that.
So, yeah,
And
yeah, I think,
that's not what I
yeah.
was trying to achieve. I was
Mm,
meditating just to kind of relax, because the career field I was in, I was looking for more
mm.
ways to relax. So
Yeah, I think with the forest people, they're trying to like, they're showing like our group basically like all these new things, like what's capable with them, what's capable with us, what's capable with physics,
mhm.
right? I think they're like grand teachers. So I think they're like different, and they're more connected to the earth, I think, and through their own, like they're able to dematerialize. Like people think they're apes, like I think they're more like a forest people ape,
Yeah,
but they want to think they're 3D, which I believe, like I'm tending to know that they're interdimensional. So we
okay,
can only see like a very small percentage of the light spectrum, right?
right.
And we're pretty stuck in 3D, like in a spiritual sense, we're like in 5D saw us, right?
Mhm.
Like, and if you get rid of like anger and fear and all those low emotions and vibrations, the higher ones, that's like where they are. And my understanding, they're more connected to the earth. Um, and I think they're here probably before us, maybe at the same time. I don't know about the origin of humanity, really. There's different stories, but I think that, uh, yeah, that they're interdimensional beings, that
Yeah,
they can just dematerialize, materialize, and I think they have family structures and dynamics and their own personalities. They're spontaneous, like they're pulling on people's legs while they're meditating and hugging them, like there's a lot of activity,
yeah.
right? And they're really coming through with their personalities and their sentient minds, and it's just it's absolutely amazing, and it's really captivating. So it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
so, and they deserve the respect and like protection, And I know like Canadians a bit different, right? Like I know the Americans, one of my senses, like they quickly go to the gun in fear, right? And try to shoot them. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're gonna threaten or try to go after interdimensional being that's like 800, 1,000 pounds. It's like 10 feet tall. It's just like I'm not even go there because it'll just take you like nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't even go there.
I don't think that's only just with the Americans, because
Sure.
I think it's just with anybody who may have the ability to be armed in any way, shape, or form, because I think it's just human nature. If you're not sure what something is, you do one of two things: you flee or you fight to try to figure out what's going on. And it's just now recently, within say maybe the last maybe 100 years or so, that we've really tried to take like a third route, like you're doing, is try to understand it, so I mean that's just my 2 cents. But
another time too, just pop in my mind, that's usually what happens when I'm recalling things. I was out in the forest, like on the property basically, and I was gonna go to bed and put the fire out, and all of a sudden, like I hear like this like squeaking digital sound, and then a huge rush right in front of me. It was like a buffalo type.
Really?
For like 15 feet in front of me, like 6 feet away, but like when it crossed 15 feet, this huge like rush of energy, and like so it's like a pure ding or something came materialized and ran right in front of me. I jumped like 50 feet, like I jumped like crazy. Like I was scared of that. So like that's when I had the fear so close like that. Otherwise I'm like, let it be, right? I'm just gonna be in a natural state and just enjoy nature and the experience and have no like. We have no intentions, but I mean, there's also I also have a protocol now, right? So just like the CE5, or it's more like thought projection, energy, and heart protection. Basically, this is more like um, going into the woods, basically the forest, and saying, I'm here. Like be great to see you. Like I'm here in peace. Whatever you want to show me, that's great. I really appreciate it. So I do that verbally, and I do a mental, like a telepathic one.
Yeah.
Seems to work really well. But I really don't think at this point, like tagged or whatever the phenomenon is, I don't really think that's necessary, because they're there, they can see you, and who knows what they're capable of, right? They're a whole nother dimension of understanding.
Yeah, for sure. Well, brother, I just want to say thank you again so much for coming on the show and sharing your encounters and your thoughts on this stuff. I truly appreciate it. And do you have any short word or advice for anybody when they decide to try to maybe contact these beings or go out in the woods and look for Sasquatch, or any words of advice?
Yeah, I would just like in your if there's something in your own personal self, I think that you should achieve to be the most authentic person you can be, the most helpful, the most positive. Start your day with affirmations, start eating well, exercising, do all the things you need to do to be at your best. And I'm really in service to others, that type of sense. And that's what makes this world amazing. And once you're in that vibration and you're at peace with yourself, basically, then enter like their habitat, the forest, and you can go ahead and have your own protocol kind of thing, and just say you want to meet them, like as I mentioned, and just find your own natural. You think the right thing to do is to reach out to them, and just go in peace and in love, and and just really know that it's like it's magic. Really, it seems so magical to us, and just enjoy it. Like just you can give them gifts if you want to. Go give them apples or other things like that. See if they like that, and they may leave you gifts also. They may reciprocate, and so if you're in that state of goodness and love and all those things, then they trust you. You may have an aura kind of thing, or like a golden dome around your head, like you've seen like probably in churches and whatnot, right? What is that energy, right? Or like the Horus, like above their heads, right? What is that? Maybe I think once you get to that point within yourself, they see that and they trust you, and they'll connect with you. They'll show you that they're there. So don't go out there and try to record them Or, it's like if I came into your home right now, like I just started talking to you and I had like a camera on, I didn't even introduce myself, get to know you or build that relationship. Like, don't be there to like record them or videotape them. It's not going to work. Actually have like a proper, like, kind, respectful, welcoming of them, and then, relationship with them before you should get permission, really. And then they will, present that to you if that's the case. So if it's in your heart, just go and experience it, because it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, brother, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to close the show out. So again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
You too. All the best, everybody.
All right, buddy. Have a good
Bye.
night.
You too. Bye. Take care.
Well, everybody, that was Christopher. And, honestly, that I find this stuff very, very amazing. It's something different to listen to. And with all the new stuff that's coming out, from the governments that, yes, these UFOs are being seen, they're being recorded. You have, very, viable eyewitnesses and pilots that have recorded these phenomenons. Something's out there, you guys. But without having this type of proof, it's always still going to be that unknown thing. So you guys, I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. And remember, as my buddy Josh always says, stay prayed up. And as always, a legend. See, I messed that up. Remember that a legend always starts with a sighting. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll be seeing you around.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?